Brother Donkey and the Pure Land. Brother Donkey lived happily in the fields, unaware of any danger. As soon as he smelled ripe figs he would trot off in search of them, not paying attention to ditches, brushwood and brambles, often making himself very ill. For a nice thistle then, he didn't pay attention to thorns, wasps or snakes but stuck his snout into the grass looking for the tasty flower, but alas, how many times did he find himself with a swollen and painful muzzle. But if he heard the braying of a beautiful donkey, then he would go completely mad and throw himself headlong in the direction of the sound, and there he would be ready to have a biting and kicking fight with the other donkeys who had come to the call, often coming out with broken bones. And then, reckless as he was, he never thought that, without paying more attention, he could have met, instead of a donkey, a wolf or perhaps a lion. Brother Donkey's life therefore continued in the midst of pain and danger, and every now and then, reflecting on it, he brayed, "Oh poor me, how unhappy I am. In this life for a moment of pleasure I must always suffer suffering and danger. Oh how I would like to live in peace and without pain." Unfortunately, the moments of reflection were rare and short. In no way was he able to tame his instincts, and he always got lost in his desires, without finding a way out. A wise man had been observing poor Brother Donkey for a while and was very sorry for him, but he understood that he could not help him simply by explaining to him how to control his mind and live in peace, because the poor little donkey had not yet reached the point to be able to help themselves by following the instructions of a good teacher. Then the man thought of creating a beautiful, very large but fenced field to prevent wild beasts from entering, free of thorns and brambles, without ditches, full of fig trees, thistles, carrots and all the foods that donkeys love, with sources of pure, fresh water, with leafy trees where you can rest in the shade, and well ventilated to keep annoying insects away. Here the donkey, free from dangers and temptations, could concentrate on following the instructions to become a wise and peaceful person. Thus it was that by talking to the donkey about this wonderful field, he managed to convince him to follow him. For safety he put a thin but sturdy and very long halter on him to allow him to move freely and not feel imprisoned, while he guided him to the wonderful camp. During the journey, in fact, it happened that the smell of good food and the braying of a donkey made Brother Donkey move away from the road to the wonderful field, but thanks to the halter held by the man, there was no risk of him getting permanently lost. But now, with sweetness and firmness, he was guided to salvation. At the end of the long journey, he arrived at the camp, which was even more beautiful than he had imagined, and he never wanted to go back, but followed the master's instructions until he too became a sage. Only then, feeling compassion for his donkey brothers and sisters, he decided to return to the world to spread the knowledge of the pure and wonderful field where all of them could live happily and in peace until they too had obtained perfect wisdom and by now free from any passion or illusion to go around the world to save all beings. We too are like Brother Donkey in this story, and we too are lost in the illusion of this world, unable, with our own strength, to get out of it. And as in the story, we need someone to guide us to a pure land where we can practice safely to be free from illusions. That someone is the Buddha Amida, who vowed to save all sentient beings, beyond their abilities or merits, creating a pure land which can be accessed just by repeating his name 10 times with confidence, and then from their return to help other beings free themselves from illusion and become Buddhas in our turn. Amida Buddha, in Sanskrit known as Amitabha, infinite light, and Amitayus, infinite life, is the manifestation of our true nature, wise and compassionate. With the usual practices to eliminate the illusion, especially that of ourself, we will hardly be able to achieve enlightenment, because the more we commit ourselves, the more we surreptitiously strengthen ourself, missing the purpose. By entrusting ourselves to another, we can instead also free ourselves from the sense of a strong ego that is achieving its goals alone, but instead we humbly ask for help, and as a consequence we will be increasingly willing to give our help to others, stopping judging them and judging ourselves, because in the end we are all donkeys.